maybe a little leg kind of, that's just how it's gonna have to be. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah. When we have to move the 2-minute place, we can probably put the possible. I think one of you considers you can just think about this. Yeah, it's just going to go. I don't. You know, the thing is, we have to go around it somehow. So I can make it back.
I get that it was right came fast.
Yeah, exactly. Right along that edge. Right, but you got these carpets. So, you know, what do you see right now? How close can we get? Are you seeing it there or not?
I'm seeing it.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's good.
We don't see it now.
Okay. So anyway, you just put that in place.
Yeah.
And this is the end that has to show because there's no flowers on that. So
Do all these need to be lit?
no, not yet. So those are the 2 parts of the service. just follow the book exactly. And won't be out of heaven. So I say, blessed is our God, who will go right into the book of No, well, I'm using this book. Yeah. You can use that, but I'm just getting the few little phrases. Yeah, that's
So
what's
it's just right after the call and then you got
yes. Yeah, we're supposed to.
Okay.
Blessed is our God always, now ever and unto ages of ages.
Amen. Come, let us worship God our King. Come, let us worship and fall down before Christ our King and our God. Come, let us worship and fall down before Christ Himself our King and our God. Come, let us worship and fall down before Him.
Bless the Lord, O my soul, Lord my God, thou art very great, thou art clothed with honor and majesty, thou coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, who laid the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire, who laid the foundation of the earth so that it should be removed forever. Thou coverest with the deep as with a garment, the waters stood above the mountains. At thy rebuke they fled, at the voice of thy thunder they hasted away. They go up by the mountain, they go down by the valleys, and unto the place which thou hast founded for them. Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. He sendeth the springs into the valleys which run among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field, the wild asses quench their thirst. By them shall the fowls of the heaven have their habitation, which sing among the branches. He watereth the hills from his chambers, the earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth, and wine that makes glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face shine, and bread to strengthen a man's heart. The trees of the Lord are full of sap, the cedars of Lebanon which he hath planted, where the birds make their nests, as for the store of the fir trees are her house. The high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the conies. He appointed the moon for seasons, the sun knoweth is going down. Thou makest darkness into his night, and run all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. The young lions roar after their prey and seek their meat from God. The sun arises, they gather themselves together and lay them down in their dens. Man goeth forth unto his work and to his labor until the evening. O Lord, how manifold are thy works, in wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches, so is this great and white sea, wherein are things creeping, innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships, there is that Leviathan which thou hast made to play therein. These wait all upon thee, thou mayest give them their meat in due season. That thou givest them, they gather, thou openest thy hand, they are filled with good. Thou hidest thy face, they are troubled, and thou takest away their breath, they die and return to their dust. Thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. The glory of the Lord shall endure forever, the Lord shall rejoice in his works. He looketh on the earth, and it trembleth, he touched the hills, and they smoke. I will sing unto the Lord as long as I live, I will sing praise to my God while I have my being. My meditation in him shall be sweet, I will be glad in the Lord. Let the sinners be consumed out of the earth, and let the wicked be no more. Bless thou the Lord, O my soul, praise ye the Lord. The sun knoweth is going down, thou makest darkness, and it is night. O Lord, how manifold are thy works, and wisdom hast thou made them all. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever unto the age of ages. Amen. Alleluia, 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 glory to thee, O God. Alleluia, 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 glory to thee, O God. Alleluia, 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 glory to thee, O God. O our God and our Lord, glory to thee.
In peace, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Peace from above, and for the salvation of our souls, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Peace in the whole world, for the good estate of the holy churches of God, and union of all, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For this holy house, and for those with faith, reverence, and fear of God, enter therein, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For our Father, Metropolitan Joseph, for the honorable priesthood, the diaconate in Christ, for all the clergy and the people, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
The President of the United States, for all civil authorities and for our forces, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For this city and every city and land, the faithful dwell therein, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For healthful seasons, abundance of the fruits of the earth, and for peaceful times, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For travelers by sea, by land, by air, for the sick and the suffering, for captives and their salvation, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For deliverance from all tribulation, wrath, danger, necessity, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Help us, save us, have mercy on us, and keep us, O God, by thy grace.
Lord, have mercy.
Calling to remembrance your holy and immaculate, blessed and glorious and magnificent, Virgin Mary and all the saints, let us commend ourselves to each other, and all of our lives unto Christ our God.
To thee, O Lord.
Unto thee are due all glory, honor, and worship to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and ever unto ages of ages.
Amen. Lord, I call upon you, hear me.
upon the ground. Their bones are scattered by the side of hell. But to thee, O Lord, are my eyes, and thee have I put my trust. Take not away my soul. Keep me from the snare which they lay for me, and from the traps of the workers of iniquity. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, while I alone escape. I cried unto the Lord with my voice unto the Lord did I make my supplication. I poured out my supplication before him, I showed him my trouble. When my spirit was overwhelmed within me, then none was my path. In a way where I walked, and they secretly laid snare for me. I looked on my right hand, beheld, but there was no one that would know me. Refuge failed me, no one cared for my soul. I cried unto thee, O Lord, I said, Thou art my refuge and my portion in the land of the living. Attend to my cry, for I am brought very low. Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are stronger than I. Bring my soul out of prison, that I may praise thy name.
If thou, Lord, shouldst mark iniquities, O Lord, who shall stand? But there is forgiveness with thee, that thou mayest be feared. The whole creation was changed by fear when it saw the O Christ hanging on the cross. The sun was darkened and the foundations of the earth were shaken. All things suffered with the Creator of all. Of thine own will thou hast endured this for our sakes. O Lord, glory to thee.
Because of thy name I have waited for thee, O Lord. My soul hath waited upon thy word. My soul hath hoped in the Lord. The whole creation was changed by fear when it saw thee, O Christ, hanging on the cross. The sun was darkened and the foundations of the earth were shaken. All things suffered with the Creator of all. Of thine own will that thou hast endured this for our sake. O Lord, glory to thee.
From the morning watch until night, from the morning watch, let Israel trust in the Lord. Why does the impious and transgressing people imagine vain things? Why have they condemned to death the life of all? Almighty wonder, the Creator of the world is delivered into the hands of lawless men, and he who loves mankind is raised upon the cross, that he may free the prisoners in hell, who cry, O long-suffering Lord, glory to thee.
For with the Lord there is mercy, with him is abundant redemption. He will deliver Israel from all his iniquities. Today the most pure Virgin saw thee hanging on the cross. O word, and with a mother's love, she wept and bitterly her heart was broken. She groaned in anguish from the depths of her soul, and in her grief she struck her face and tore her hair, and beating her breast she cried, lamenting, Woe is me, my divine child, woe is me, thou light of the world. Why dost thou vanish from my sight, O Lamb of God? Then the host of angels received with trembling, and they said, O Lord, beyond our understanding, glory to thee.
Praise the Lord, all ye nations, praise him, all ye people. For his mercy is great toward us, and the truth of the Lord endureth forever. Today the master of creation stands before Pilate. Today the maker of all things is given up to the cross, and of his own will he is led as a lamb to the slaughter. He who sent man in the wilderness, his hands fixed with nails, his side, his fingers and a sponge with vinegar touches his lips. The deliverer of the world is struck in the face, and the creator of all is marked by his own servants. How great is the Master's love for mankind, for those who crucified him. He prayed to his Father, saying, Forgive them the sin, for their wickedness they know not what they do. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. See how the lawless synagogue gets condemned to death, the King of the creation. They were not ashamed when he recalled his blessings, saying, O my people, what have I done unto you? Have I not filled Judea with miracles? Have I not raised the dead by my word alone? Have I not healed every sickness and disease? How then have you repaid me? Why have you forgotten me? In return for healing, you have given me blows. In return for life, you are putting me to death. You hang upon the cross your benefactor as an evildoer, your lawgiver as a transgressor of the law, the King of all as one condemned. O long-suffering Lord, glory to thee. Both now and ever and unto the ages of ages. Amen. I dread and marvel this mystery we see come to pass this day. He who none may touch his seed. He who looses Adam from the curse is bound. He who tries the hearts and inner thoughts of men is unjustly brought to trial. He who closed the abyss is shut in prison. He before whom the powers of them stand with trembling, stands before Pilate. The Creator is struck by the hand of his creature. He who comes to judge the living and the dead is condemned to the cross. The destroyer of hell is enclosed in a tomb. O thou who dost endure all these things in thy tender love, who hast saved all men from the curse, O long-suffering Lord, glory to thee.
Wisdom, stand upright.
Oh, as the light of the holy glory of the immortal heavenly, holy, blessed Father, O Jesus Christ. so beautiful as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them an inheritance among their brothers.
Behold, my servant shall prosper, he shall be exalted and be lifted up, and shall be very high. As many were astonished at him, his appearance was so marred beyond human resemblance, and his form beyond that of the sons of men. So shall he startle many nations, kings shall shut their mouths because of him. For that which has not been told them they shall see, and that which they have not heard they shall understand. Who has believed what we have heard, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he grew up before him like a young plant, like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or comeliness that we should look upon him, and no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, as one from whom men hide their faces. For he was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquity. Upon him was the chastisement that made us whole, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray, we have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened out his mouth. Like a lamb that is led before the slaughter, and like a sheep before his shearers is dumb. As he opened his mouth, by oppression and judgment he was taken away. And as for this generation, who considered that he was cut off from the land of the living, stricken for the transgression of my people, and they made his grave with the wicked, and with a rich man in his death. Although he had done no violence, and there was no deceit in his mouth. Yet it was the will of the Lord to bruise him, he was put to grief when he makes himself an offering for sin. He shall see his offspring, he shall prolong his days. The will of the Lord shall prosper in his land. He shall see the fruit of the travail of his soul and be satisfied. By his knowledge shall the righteous one, my servant, make many to be accounted righteous, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his soul to death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressors. Sing, O barren one who did not bear, break forth into singing and cry aloud, you who have not been in travail. For the children of the desolate one will be more than the children of her that is married, saith the Lord.
Blessed.
They have laid me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. They have laid me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. You have cast me down. You have cast me down to the bottom of the pit, into darkness and the shadow of death, O Lord. God of my salvation, day and night I cried out to you. They have laid me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. They have laid me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep.
Wisdom.
The reading is from the first epistle of Paul to the Corinthians.
Let us be attentive.
Rather, the word of the cross is folly to those who are perishing, but to those of us who are being saved is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and the cleverness of the clever I will thwart. Where is the wise man? Where is the scribe? Where is the debater of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? For since in the wisdom of God the world did not know God through wisdom, it pleased God through the folly of what we preach to save those who believe. For Jews abandon signs and Greeks seek wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and folly to Gentiles. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For consider your call, brethren, not many of you were wise according to worldly standards, not many were powerful, not many were of noble birth. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame you who are wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world, even things that are not, to bring to nothing things that are, so that no human being might boast in the presence of God. He is the source of your life in Christ Jesus, whom God made our wisdom, our righteousness, and sanctification and redemption. Therefore, as it is written, let him who boasts boast of the Lord. When I came to you, brethren, I did not come proclaiming to you the testimony of God and lofty words of wisdom, for I decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified.
Peace to thee that readeth.
And to thy spirit.
Wisdom, stand upright, let us hear the holy gospel. Peace be to all.
And to thy spirit.
The reading is from the holy gospel according to St. Matthew.
Glory to thee, O Lord, glory to thee.
Let us be attentive.
At that time, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And they bound him and led him away, and delivered him to Pontius Pilate the governor. When Judas his betrayer saw that Jesus was condemned, he repented and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and to the elders, saying, I have sinned in betraying innocent blood. They said, What is that to us? See to it yourself. And throwing down the pieces of silver in the temple, he departed, and he went and hanged himself. But the chief priests, taking the pieces of silver, said, It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, since they are blood money. So they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken by the prophet Jeremiah, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him who was valued by the sons of Israel, and they gave them for the potter's field as the Lord directed me. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, Are you the king of the Jews? Jesus said, You have said so. But when Jesus was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he made no answer. Then Pilate said to him, Do you not hear how many things they testify against you? But he gave him no answer, not even to a single charge, so that the governor wondered greatly. Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to release for the crowd any one prisoner whom they wanted. And they had a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. So when they had gathered, Pilate said to them, Whom do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called Christ? For Pilate knew that they had delivered Jesus up out of envy. Besides, while he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, Have nothing to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered much over him today in a dream. Now the chief priests and the elders persuaded the people to ask Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor again said to them, Which of the two do you want me to release for you? And they said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, What then shall I do with Jesus who is called Christ? They said, Let him be crucified. And Pilate said, Why, what evil has he done? But they shouted all the more, Let him be crucified. So when Pilate saw that he was gaining nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning, he took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, I am innocent of this righteous man's blood, see to it yourselves. And all the people answered, His blood be on us and on our children. Then Pilate released for them Barabbas, and having scourged Jesus, delivered him up to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium, and they gathered the whole battalion before him. And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe upon him, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on his head. And they put a reed in his right hand, and kneeling before him, they mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! And they spat upon him, and took a reed, and struck him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they stripped him of the robe, and put his own clothes on him, and led him away to crucify him. As they went out, they came upon a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. This man they compelled to carry Jesus' cross. And when they came to the place called Golgotha, which means a place of a skull, they offered him wine to drink mingled with gall. When he tasted it, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among them by casting lots. What was spoken by the prophet might be fulfilled. They parted my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Then they sat down and kept watch over him there, and over his head they put a charge against him which read, This is the Jesus, the King of the Jews. Then 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. One of the criminals who were hanged railed at him, saying, If you are the Christ, save yourself and us. But the other rebuked him, saying, Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed justly. For we are receiving the due reward of our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong. And he said to Jesus, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus said to him, Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. And those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads and saying, You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. So also the chief priests and the scribes and the elders mocked him, saying, He saved others, he cannot save himself. If he is the King of Israel, let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God, let God deliver him now if he desires him. For he said, I am the Son of God. And the robbers who were crucified with him also reviled him in the same way. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? That is, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And some of the bystanders heard it said, This man is calling Elijah. And one of them at once ran and took a sponge, filled it with vinegar, and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. But the others said, Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. And Jesus cried again with a loud voice and gave up the spirit. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split, and the tombs were opened. And many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised, and coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, Truly this was the Son of God. Since it was the day of preparation, in order to prevent the bodies from remaining on the cross on the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a high day, the Jews asked Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and then the other who had been crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and once there came out blood and water. And he who saw and had borne witness, and his testimony is true. And he knows that he tells the truth, and may also believe. For these things took place that the scripture might be fulfilled. Not a bone of his body shall be broken. And again another scripture says, They shall look on him whom they have pierced. There were also many women there looking on from afar who had followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to him, among whom were Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. When it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who was a disciple of Jesus. He went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate ordered it to be given to him. Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen shroud and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the tomb and departed. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were there, sitting opposite the sepulchre.
Glory to thy long suffering, O Lord, glory to thee.
their whole soul and their whole mind, let us say,
Lord, have mercy.
Lord Almighty God of our fathers, we pray thee, hearken and have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Mercy on us, O God, according to thy great mercy, we pray thee, hearken and have mercy.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Again, we pray for all pious and Orthodox Christians.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Again, we pray for Father, Richard, Paul, and Joseph.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Again, we pray for our brethren, the priests, our monks, deacons, and hierarchies, and monastics, and for all of our brethren in Christ.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Again, we pray for mercy, life, peace, health, salvation, visitation, pardon and remission of sins for the servants of God, the beloved, very reverend Archpriest Father David, for continued healing for his name, for Stephen, for novices David and Daniel, Michelle and the child she bears, and the faithful St. Andrews who are able to be here, and all Orthodox Christians of who worship, who live and dwell in this community.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Again, we pray for the blessed and irrevocable founders of this holy church, the newly departed Archpriest Isaac, Helen, for Catherine, Ephraim, Gabriel, John, Theophilus, Alexandra, and for Gerasa, and for all our fathers and brethren Orthodox, Christians who departed aside before us, here in all the world, by sleep of the Lord.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Again, we pray for those who bear fruit, do good works in this holy and venerable temple, those who serve and those who sing, and for all the people here present, who wait and beg great and rich mercy.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
For thou art merciful God, and lovest mankind, who createst bright glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of ages.
Amen.
Thou
seek the Lord,
keep us seeking without sin. Blessed art thou, O Lord, the God of our fathers, and praise and glorify his name forever. Amen.
Let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us, even as we have set our hope on thee. Blessed art thou, O Lord, teach me thy statutes. Blessed art thou, O Master, make me to understand thy statutes.
Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. All Holy Trinity, have mercy on us. Lord, cleanse us from our sins. Master, pardon our iniquities. Holy God, visit and heal our infirmities for thy name's sake. Lord, have mercy, Lord, have mercy, Lord, have mercy. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, now and ever, unto ages of ages.
Amen. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen. The angel came to the birth-bearing women at the tomb, and said, "Mary is fitting for the dead, but Christ has shown himself a stranger to corruption."
Wisdom.
Father, bless.
Christ our God, the existing one, is blessed always, now and ever, unto ages of ages.
Amen. Preserve, O God, the holy Orthodox faith on all Orthodox Christians unto ages of ages.
Most
Amen.
holy Theotokos, save us.
More honorable than the cherubim, and more glorious beyond compare than the seraphim, thou who without corruption bearest God, who art in our truly Theotokos, we magnify thee.
Glory to thee, O Christ, our God, and our hope. Glory to thee.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Father, bless.
May he who didst endure the spitting, the scourges, reviling, and death for our salvation, Christ our true God, that intersected was all immaculate, all blameless, Holy Mother, abandon the first called patron of this church, and the venerable Mary, Bishop, the patrons of our chapel, of the holy and righteous answers of God, Joachim and Anna, and all the saints, have mercy upon us and save us for as much as he is good, and love us mankind. Through the prayers of our holy Father, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us.
Amen.